Welcome back to Presentations in English. This is the second of two lessons on pronunciation, and in this lesson we'll focus on something called intonation. This is basically the rise and fall of your voice as you speak. And even if you say the same words, if your intonation changes, then the meaning changes. One of the most important functions of a presentation is to give information. And one of the most important intonation patterns is a rise and fall, which is what happens when we give information. So let's have a look at that in today's lesson. Let's get to it. Firstly, I'd like to just talk about a couple of key concepts, the first of which is pitch. Pitch is the relative highness or lowness of your voice. And in normal talk, there are four main pitch levels: low, mid, high and extra high. And most normal speech is in the mid and high areas. Low usually signals the end of a talk, and then extra high can be something emotional like surprise or excitement. Our second concept is that of thought groups. When we speak, we divide our language up into thought groups. These have a pause before and after them, and they can be quite long if we speak quickly, or they can be made up of much shorter groups if we speak slowly and carefully. So for example, here are two different ways of saying the same thing with different thought groups. So how long each thought group is will depend on how fast we speak, or how long each thought group is will depend on how fast we speak. So how do pitch and thought groups connect? Well, across a thought group, the pitch will change to create some kind of pattern. And this change in pitch across a thought group is called intonation. And intonation is a very, very important way to create meaning. So when we're speaking to another person, the intonation that we use is incredibly important to make our meaning clear. And there are many patterns of intonation to reflect these different meanings, different patterns for asking a question when we know the answer, or asking a question when we don't know the answer, giving information, showing some kind of emotion or boredom. And so on. Many intonation patterns for all the many meanings that we want to make. When we're giving a presentation, probably the most common thing that we'll do is to give information. So let's look at the common intonation pattern for this information giving. That is the rise and fall. In English, when you give new information, it's most commonly at the end of a thought group, and the new information is stressed. Here are two examples that you might say in a presentation. I will talk about three things, and there are two main problems. Now the new information is three things, and probably the stress word is the number 3, and two main problems, and again the stress number is 2. So just listen again, and I'll give this a rising and falling pitch. I'll talk about three things. There are two main problems. And I hope that by doing that, you feel confident that I am certain about what I'm saying. Let's contrast that with just a rising intonation. And what this does is kind of makes you question what the speaker is saying, or they sound a little bit unsure. Have a listen to this. I'll talk about three things, or maybe 2 things, or maybe 4. I'm not sure. There are 2 main problems, maybe 1 problem, maybe 3 problems. Again, I sound unsure. So when you're giving information, if you want to sound confident and sure, give the information with a rising and falling pitch. Why don't you practice now these two sentences and just see if you can do the rising and falling pitch. Here are two more statements that you might find in a typical presentation. Clear goals lead to success in life, and more people are learning online. In the first one, the key information is success in life, and probably the stressed word is success. In the second one, the key information at the end of the thought group is learning online, and probably this stressed word is learning. So let's say them with a rising and falling pitch, so that we show that we're confident and we're sure of the information we're giving. Okay. Clear goals lead to success in life. More and more people are learning online. Now, let's try and contrast that with a rising intonation. And as we saw in the previous slide, a rising intonation means that we might sound questioning or unsure of what we say. Let's listen to that. Clear goals lead to success in life. More and more people are learning online. I hope you agree that a rising intonation does make us sound uncertain and we're questioning what we're saying. That might be the goal of what you want to do, but in most presentations you want to give information clearly and with certainty and with confidence. So why don't you try these two statements and practice on your own with a rising and falling pitch. So in sum, a rising and falling intonation pattern is a common way to show information and show that you're confident about what you're saying, which of course is very important in a presentation. Intonation is like the music of English, and so next time you listen to a presentation, see if you can hear these musical changes that the speaker carries out. And then of course practice your own presentation as well as you can. Good luck.